game number 1 is back and forth, where we're basically bringing the dog into the environment and letting them assess the environment, and then when they're comfortable, they will return engagement to you by looking basically just towards you, right? Which sounds so easy, but it's not. You, the human, all you get to do is hold the leash and throw the cookies. I was going to say throw the leash and hold the cookies, but that is wrong, actually. So you get to start the game every time you're in a person. Can you see how divided his attentional state is right now? Which is fine, right? He's assessing the environment. So now I'm going to shift from divided to selective. Don't speak English. He's like, oh, you want me? And so I show the dog the cookie, and I just put it, like toss it to the side, because you want the dog moving back and forth. You'll need cookies in both hands. Get it, and then you wait. When they look back at you, you toss it in the new direction. You're being way too good, sir. Get it. Get it. Do you see how quickly he's re-engaging with me? And I don't care if he makes eye contact, get it, or not. He just has to engage towards me. That's on it. It's on your foot. Get it. Get it. Good boy, Robin. So, do you see the shift? And now it kind of sticks around for a while. Do you see the difference in the dog after a couple of back and forth? Right? Tails wagging. We're always looking for what it looks like for each individual dog when they shift attentional states. So literally 35 seconds ago, he was like, hi, sniffing, trying to steal things from, and then you play a little bit of this pattern game, and he's like, attentional state. I'm now in that selective attentional state, right? And he's young, so it doesn't last forever, but you can see the difference now. Right? He can select me out of the environment a lot better. You're a good whip. But once you've got low latency, meaning they can pretty quickly, like within a second or two, return their focus to you, you're going to bring the game in closer, and it becomes up and down. Right? These are all based off of Leslie McDevitt's Control Unleashed. We just have gone a little bit wild and made them fly ball style. But she approves. She's seen them, so we're good. So the up and down, I'll do this to the side, is the dog is in front of you-ish. You've got cookies in both hands, like usual. It's a good thing you're a pig. And you and the dog are both going to go up and down during this game. So I give the dog the cookie either on or in front of my shoe. When he re-engages, it goes to the next shoe. And do you see the two of us together going up and down? And so the interesting thing about that is, and it makes me laugh really hard, that he also, like, because I have to go up and down to bend over, he does it with me, right? So I think it's hilarious. And the interesting thing is all my dogs do it, not just him, right? Even the baby puppy does it. And so that also gets your dog into that selective attentional state. But what this does is, from our perspective in dog sportsing, is it keeps things tight into us. Right? I love my back and forth game, but you kind of have to be far from the ring to do that, right? Or I'll sometimes do it in the ring, because my dog and his teammates, they don't care if he's going back and forth a little bit. But most of the time when you're waiting outside the ring at a tournament or a trial or whatever, the dog is on leash, they have to be pretty close. So this dials the game right in at you. The other thing that happens is there's a co-regulation with you and the dog with their ears, because the ears do more than just hear, it turns out. Who knew? There's a vestibular response when you change the plane of your head, right? It changes your internal state, right? And we could go into more of that, but I'll just direct you to an Andrew Huberman podcast about it, which is very, very, very specific about the science and the state changes when you do that, right? And so by him and I going up and down together like that, we are both regulating our internal arousal state, because the dogs do read your arousal states a little bit, right? So if we can regulate together, you can see that the dogs will be able to easily get into that attentional state. Does that make sense? So what he was showing you with the end result desired attentional state was he went from looking at you guys or looking around to the floor or stuff over there to looking at me. Right? And then if I stop for too long and stop paying attention to him, his state wanders a little bit, but not so bad. Right? Can you see how long that affects the dog in a good way? Obviously, I wouldn't do that and then just hang out and do nothing for 10 minutes. That would be rude. Yes, we get it. Yeah, you can order like one or two. That would be awesome. Baby puppy. Good girl, Smooch. Good job, Lisa. Good timing.
We've done a little bit at home.
Yeah. You can see it's hard. You can see it's hard because it's taken her like 3 seconds. And that's just a sign of this is hard. You can just put it on his nose. There you go. There you go. Yes. Yes, sir. Look at the latency on this, meaning how quickly they're looking back on it. It's so interesting. It is freaking adorable. And that up and down, that vestibular action, where you take 4 bowls. I brought the fanciest bowls from Walmart. And I went shopping for you all. And so I'll show you without the dog first. You bring the dog in, and you always start the pattern game. The dog does not have to engage to start the game because they may be unable to. All right? And so I don't want to call the dog and then start the game or pull on them. I just want to be like, here's your cookie on the bowl. And then you have to stand completely still. The dog will cue you when you can move to the next bowl. What do you think that cue from the dog is going to be?
Looking at you.
Engagement, right? When looking at you is like a general thing. It can be any part of you, it can be towards you. It's not obedience eye contact, right? Anything towards me. As soon as the dog looks towards me, I go to the next bowl and put the cookie down. And then I have to wait. Waiting is hard, man. It's so hard. When the dog re-engages, I go to the next bowl, put the cookie down, and then you have to wait. Right? You don't have to start with 4 bowls. You can start with 2 bowls if you're in a smaller space, and we build some crazy things off of this. The reason that I found this to be incredibly effective in trial is by giving the dog a visual focal point. The behavior people tell us that it keeps the dogs from scanning the environment. Because the more that you scan, the more eye movement back and forth there is, the more anxiety gets built, right? And by giving the dog a focal point, it stops the scanning, the back and forth eye movement, and reduces the anxiety. What do you think in Flyball produces the back and forth eye movement? The whole freaking game, right? You guys are like, it's like tennis. Is that, right?
Yeah,
It's like tennis, but like 10 times faster. One of the things you guys will start to notice is the more you play these games, the more they naturally shift themselves into that selective attentional state. You see him already? The first time he came out here, he was like, hi everybody, what's going on? Now he's like, oh, we're doing a thing with the mother. So I'm gonna go to my first bowl. Ooh, stopping. I'm gonna put a cookie down, and I'm gonna wait. The next bowl. Comment, you're the worst demo dog. It's not how it goes usually. Here, there's one already there. Nice! Good, Elizabeth.
She went and I want her to engage the core and bring the hips under. Sit. Not quite. So let's have her sit.
Spinning a lot here the last time too.
It may be that it smells good.
Yeah.
It may be that he's in front of a group that it's really hard. Could be all the above. It's a bonus sit here. I have your fancy box here.
Tracy, is there guidance on marking the re-engagement or not?
You can mark it with like a yes, like Elizabeth is doing. You can say get it or something. But as long as you don't move to the next bowl until they look up at you, you can say any 3 or 4 letter word. And you'll start to learn what their body looks like when they're working through things. There! That was hard. You do is hilarious. Oh wait, I see a girl dog, Mom. Waking up, right? And so the first thing I would do before I even try this is just eat 2 squares cookies, right? Definitely not an optimized state. So if I was like, let's play flyball, what do you think I'd get? I don't even know, right? She's a nice little flyball dog, but who knows even? So the first thing I'm gonna do is get her from the divided attentional state into selective. So pop quiz, how did you do that already today? Pattern games, right? Any of the pattern games. So for her, get it, I'll just do a little back and forth. Get it. Get it. And you'll see her body language change. Get it. Get it. You'll see the yawning and the stretching start to go away. Get it. Get it. You can see she knows this game. So she is like, oh yeah, we're doing something. So you see the difference in her already. Alright? So still not ready to do sports though. Awake, selective attentional state, and this is where most of us have made the mistake of taking the leash off and going to do a sport. Right? So the volume dial is, I'm going to start to ask her, you still look sleepy, my friend. I'm going to start to ask her for higher arousal behaviors. She knows a couple. Electra. So she knows monkey dance. Electra Jean. Ready? Monkey dance. Get it. Hey. So everything changes. Ready, sit. Shows how to spin. Get it. Are you ready? Sparks on cue. Ready? 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 Get it. So it's 3 little things. Gotta get all my cheese crumbs. Ready? Monkey dance. Gotta get all my cheese. Ready? Ready? So she can't do her monkey dance. I'm just gonna work barking. Ready? Ready? Good girl. Get that. Yes. So that was about 5. You see the difference in her body language? She hears her brother barking. So getting there, right? Not quite fully ready, right? A little bit like still. She's not in the sit. She's not as relaxed as she was. She's moving, but still not totally ready to work. So you just do a couple more. I'll add more of my monkey dance, there it is, get girly, hey! You see the difference in her muscle tone?
Yes.
Right, and that goes to what Belle was asking earlier, like how do you tell? You start to learn your dog, because when she was, come here, let's revisit the moment. When she was in her sit, after the pattern games, you see how like jelly-like and relaxed she was? And then I did a little bit more volume dial with her, and suddenly, now she's got a little tightness in her muscles, her facial expression's a little different.
She's gone from zone 1.
She was literally asleep.
She was zone 1,
Right.
and she went through 2.
Yes. So we're moving him from that divided to selective attentional state, because it turns out you can't go from divided to sustained. I've tried it, it doesn't work. Freaking science. Yes. So as soon as you've got the quick responses, the low latency.
Might lay down.
Border collie. Yay. All right, so now start a little chicken. Will he tug after all those cookies? Try it. Oh, yeah. And Elizabeth thought, good. Nice. There's a bowl that I forgot to pick up. So now watch his body language change. You keep doing what you're doing because you're perfect. We're just going to observe you. And other dogs can hear the change in energy when you're running. I think that's what you mean. It's either run or Yes. Yes. So maybe do 2 more of those little spin things. Okay. And then you'll just take the toy away and stand still and see what he does. Yes. And then 1 more. Woo.
Oh.
That's right. It's a really hard environment for a baby.
So the question is, do I manipulate the
Move him a little further away because he's like. I would bet you $10 he has to potty. Do you see the right? Do you see how everything was going great and then like the light turned off? Right? So take him out. Let's get Fresca out. We'll put him at the end. All right. So let's start him over. You were doing a little pattern game out there. So now let's just go into the play and see what we got. We'll do like 3 or 4 tricks for tugging. Because he was just about doing it and then his bladder said bad things. Is it your arm? run with the cookie a lot because you want to really stimulate the dog so you can treat and then run like that. Perfect. Hey! Do 2 more, just like that. That was good.
Oops, we dropped it.
Yes! Use it. Yes. Use it. Use it. Do something else. There. Nice. All right, so now start throwing this sucker around. Let's see if we get him on that toy. Yes. Bring him to that lane where there's less food stuff. A little bit easier. He's only 6 months old. But baby. There you go. Come on.
He's just sniffing the ground. That's all he's
It
doing.
does smell real good. Right? So just go back to the food then. Right? He's like, I played tug earlier and I can't play tug right now. Good. So what kind of goofy little tricks does he know?
Not a whole lot.
Does he know how to sit? Because you can just sit, and as soon as it's run, release, run, cookie. See what it is? Release, run. Hey! Ooh, I like that one.
Two boys, sit.
Yes! 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 Do one more. Do one more. Yes! Woo! There you go. So now stand still and let's see what we got. We take a snuffle mat. Have you guys ever seen snuffle mats? Right, snuffle mats you basically scatter cookies in and the dog has to snuffle around to find the cookie. And what are they doing when they're snuffling? Sniffing. And what does the sniffing do? Automatic arousal regulation in a really high arousal thing. So what we do is pretend I've got my dog here. Power patterns. It's basically combining up and down with snuffle mats with a little bit of that side to side, back and forth motion. So the dog is here, I've got a snuffle mat just outside my feet. We originally started playing this with Super Bowls because that gave the dog a focal point, right? And then I replaced it with these little snuffle mats because now you've got a focal point and breathing, right? It's like the double whammy. So you put the dog into whatever your lineup is. Some people have them come between your feet. Some people, like I just hold my dogs here. And so while they're waiting, we present whatever the arousal stimulator is. And for some dogs, just getting in this position is it, right? And then what I'm looking for the dog to do is, can they re-engage with me, at which point I put a cookie on their snuffle mat. And after they eat it, are they still obsessing on what's over there? Or can they re-engage up at me? And then I'll put a cookie on the other snuffle mat. So you see how this combines a whole bunch of those pattern games? So we've got the breathing, we've got the engagement. I'm like, what's the word? Words are hard. The engagement that we got with like the back and forth games, and we've got the focal point of the Super Bowls to get rid of the scanning that creates a lot of that anxiety and over-arousal in the dogs, right? All while you're in this lineup position, right? So say that you're dog 3 in your lineup of 4 doing the fly ball, right? So like here. Here's my dog. Pretty sure when Ramen starts running in fly ball, in lineups, I'm gonna have to be doing this, right? A whip it, having to watch a team go in there, and other dogs, right? And often we'll debut a dog in anchor, so there's a long wait, which is harder than it seems for these young dogs. So here's Ramen. I'm holding him here, and I put a cookie down, and there's all sorts of things going on either side. He gets the cookie, looks up at me, the next cookie here, I'm holding him the whole time. Then when it's his turn to run, ready, set, go. And that's something we've been playing with a lot of fly ball dogs, because then when we put them in the lane, they're in that optimal state, that sustained attentional state, which lasts about 30 seconds. How long does it take any of your dogs, slowest run, how long does it take them to come back and forth? So my Papillon Nacho is probably the slowest dog here because he's little, so like 5.5 seconds, right? On like a big fluffy hair day, all your dogs go a lot faster than that, right? Right, some of these dogs nowadays are doing freaking 3 threes, Jesus, right? And so if we can have them while they're waiting, optimizing, right? Boom, 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 ready, set, go. Now that sustained attentional state will last you through the dog's run, and you'll have fewer errors and more success on the task at hand. Does that make sense? So what I want to do is, I want to teach the dogs this game, because I think they need to know it, and then I want to present them with the distraction of a dog just walking by, right? Can they keep playing that game while the dog is walking by? And then, once they're successful with that game with the dog walking by, then you can bring them into the lane. We're not gonna like house them to a box or anything, but you can like throw a ball, or you can do a little tug reward just to give them that release and that energy. So they learn that that game gets followed by this. Right? And we have researched the rules of flyball, and it is completely legal. Right? So you keep doing what you're doing for that. Bandit!
Get back, feed him.
He's like, he's so funny. He's like, wait, what's that pattern that I was doing? Yes. Let's show them that one more